Welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to unequivocally figure out what the best movie is of any given year. Before I introduce this week's panelists, know that this show also is a game in which points are awarded for well-made arguments, cogent thoughts about the film, jokes, and anything else I feel like awarding. Right now, one of your panelists does have 6 points and the other has 2. If you want to figure out why, go over to yourpopfilter.com/Patreon. And the winner is my best friend for a week, and they have gloating rights. This season, we're digging into 1975. This week, we're moving and grooving with a shampoo. I am your host, Mike Gravano. Your first panelist is my best friend of last week. Give it up for Ryan.
Hey, Mike. Hey.
What's wrong, buddy?
You sound down in the dumps, champ.
I did so bad. What I really want to do is talk about Shampoo. But
okay, well, we're not here yet. I should at least introduce Greg before we start doing that.
No, I don't want to just start talking about Shampoo. I'm just saying I'm very excited to talk about Shampoo and not previous movies that were in the 1975 season.
Oh, don't do that.
Okay, so just Shampoo then. Well, Greg and then Shampoo. And then
all right, and Greg's here.
No other movies.
Thanks for introducing me, Mike. I did not win last week, but I also feel like I wasn't the biggest loser.
See, this is what I was talking about, Mike. I knew this was going to fucking happen.
Well, it is weird because, Greg, you did lose, but you're coming in with a real winner energy, and Ryan is a bit of a sad sack. And
do you see where my thumbs are here, Mike? They are actually under my suspenders, which I am sort of drawing
which is
away
cool.
from my chest in sort of like a concert motion to show that I'm living it
so
up.
you're not a big city lawyer.
Have you ever heard the term that it takes 3 to tango? How about that?
Yeah, let's assume that I'm familiar with that, yes.
Okay, it takes 3 to lie,
Yeah.
2 to lie, and 1 to listen. These are all terms that exist in the world.
All right, Ryan, stop beating around the bush. Why are you a sad sack loser? Fuck up.
You two, amazing podcasting giants.
Thank you.
Just pillars of the
Respect.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
Recorded an absolutely incredible conversation with me. I was there, but
So good, yeah.
Whatever. You know, ew. With me about the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right.
And not only were you guys amazing at speaking about it, but you also recorded what you talked about.
And I lost graciously.
That's
But
the most important part that we should be focusing on. Greg lost the game.
Wait, hang on. I might have helped you bury the lead there. What was that last part you said, big guy?
No, yeah, unbury that lead.
No,
Dig it up.
I did.
Get that grave dirt under your fingernails.
I said that you guys did an incredible job recording your version of the episode.
Okay, yeah.
Our version.
Right.
And
some of us did not. And who did not is up for debate.
yeah, like if I'm a listener right now, I'm wondering, wait, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I know a few weeks ago I was told I would listen to
You
that.
were
Let me
promised
check
that
the
episode.
feed.
Yeah.
They probably
And
ran
then-
right to the feed.
Do you know how fervently people are checking the feed right now?
Oh, God.
Right now, I
Refresh,
don't think I've
refresh.
heard them
F5,
talk about
F5, F5.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Why not? Why
Obviously,
haven't
this
I
is
heard
my
that?
mistake. I must be a stupid idiot who did something so stupid.
Yeah, I messed up my feed.
Because I can't see where it is.
Here's what's important. We all talked about One Flew. That's a fact. And I think that we all had thoughts about it, and those thoughts were good. Not that the movie was necessarily good or bad, but the thoughts that we had were definitely good.
Yeah, we think good thoughts.
Right. And I think that's all. That's it. But that's it, though.
No, I'm getting word. Actually, it did not go out.
Oh
last
wait, hold
week.
on. You're receiving word from the booth. They're feeding words.
You can
to you.
tell he is. Listen to his tone. You can tell he's
Yeah.
talking to us while he's hearing information.
The board is in the booth, all 12 of them, and they are all talking in unison, saying the same thing, which is actually more disturbing than you
that's
think.
fucked up.
And Ryan, you fucked up.
I did.
The reason nobody has heard One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is because of you, and it is your first time recording a show, and so that's why it didn't happen.
Well, we've been doing anniversary shows that were, I think they're called A Decade of Excellence. A title I love. But that's declaring the previous decade was excellent. Not the current one that we're in right now.
This current decade's the decade of dog shit. Get used to a lot of audio typos and mess ups.
We
folks.
did a solid 10 years already. But I apologize to the listeners. I apologize to you two. I did not, and by you two I mean obviously Bono and The Edge. I did not.
Well, some of our biggest fans.
I did not record One Flew, and so we don't have that show. We're moving on to Shampoo. But I did want to know what you guys, or the listeners want to know what you guys thought about the movie in general.
Well, you also want to know because you weren't listening, because you were just staring at yourself not recording the whole time, being like, is there something wrong there? I'll fix that later.
I stared so much. You guys don't even know.
I had expected to hate it because of like a shifting in perspective on my part, but I found it very well made and very engrossing and very funny. But then still, like, I guess gender issues or the way things break for Nurse Ratched just feels... So especially like in the context of like Shampoo or the other movies where women are like just constantly trying to like make men be functional even a little bit, it feels like classically she is given kind of short shrift in the cultural reckoning of what her character is like.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was in our first season we did American Beauty, and we thought it would be this thing. We didn't think it would just be straight up awful. We thought we thought it would be like how I thought of One Flew, which is a little weird, a little touchy. But ultimately, you can't deny the entertainment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought American Beauty was going to be. That's not the case. But that
you
is
can't
definitely...
deny the entertainment
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But with One Flew,
entertaining.
It's definitely there. Like the performances and the engagement. Like you really are engaged, and it's not until you stop to think about it and talk about it with two friends, whether you're recording or not, until you realize
it's still a valid moment.
how the movie actually means to you.
It is lesser than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. If a
There's
moment's
individual
not
things that are
content,
great. Yeah.
Was it a moment?
Does it exist?
Did it fall?
You know, Randall McMurphy is a lot worse than I remember, but Jack Nicholson is a lot better than I remember.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if you separate it from the cultural context, it's a more enjoyable experience.
But I do think that I'm going to keep my fucking mouth shut about it in the future because of Shawshank. You know, like, I think people love this movie. I do kind of think that the flaws aren't seen. People loving this movie, and I'm just going to let them love it instead of going on my Shawshank tirade of like, well, here's why it's only a good movie.
I've let people love things for too long, and I think I'm
You're
going
gonna
back to my older ways of die in a fire. If you like this thing, I think isn't good.
I do think it also it created a lot of the filmic language around mental institutions and created sort of,
For better or worse.
yeah, it kind of helped to create, you know, like Girl Interrupted or even like that FX show, Legion. Like it hit so many of the notes that were first established by One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah. Well, that is a couple-minute version of what you could have heard.
I'm sorry. Also, Brendan Fraser got put in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good that you pointed that out. Brendan Fraser made it in. Good for you, bud.
I'm just giving Greg a couple points right now because he
Recorded?
A few points for the Gregster.
he knows how to record. So
I hate when Mike squeezes off anything.
I love it. I just love squeezing it off. Oh, the crowd does not. The crowd does not. I'm sorry, crowd. I'll stop squeezing everything off. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then actually talk about and actually record Shampoo. Directed by Harold and Maude's Hal Ashby and written by the Yakuza's Robert Towne and Bulworth's Warren Beatty, Shampoo follows a day in the life of Lothario hairdresser George as he tries to juggle his ladies and open his own salon on the eve of Nixon's election. The creators have stated the movie has nothing to do with the presidential politics, but is a satire of sexual and social politics of the time. Taste buds, I ask you this. It may be a while before we get a chance to do another Warren Beatty movie, at least until we do 1990s Dick Tracy. How does he do it owning the movie? Is this the understated star/legendary stickman we've heard about all our lives?
I mean, we do have to talk about the fact that George is based on a bevy of people, but one of them is Warren Beatty, and that is what drove the box office. People wanted to see what a day in his life as a legendary stickman was like.
Like, so, because he almost, for most of the movie, it's almost like he has a head injury or he's hard of hearing. I know he's using this as like a strategy, but for so much of the movie, it just seems like, does this guy understand what's going on? Like, what is going on behind the scenes there?
Greg, I think the head injury is great. And the idea about the hearing, that's great. And Mike, you're hosting, it's great. I think that everyone's doing great.
Come on, babe. You're doing great.
You're doing great.
Great.
You're just it's everything.
I like
great.
how Goldie Hawn's like, what is great about me? And he's like,
Yeah.
No. I did not sign on to continue my thoughts after I said the word great.
Just
there's
be
a lot
placated.
there's a lot of moments of the glass shattering for her of her picture of George, but that feels like the biggest one.
And I think in a lot of ways she is the main character in her world realization. But George
She arcs.
and really comes to find out all the things that we knew from seriously second one of Bonnie and Clyde 5 years before this. But it's a really understated performance. I think that it's really, I don't want to say impressive, but it's to be talked about that he did not have a character that goes all out, that has a lot of for your consideration in it. He really is laid back. And the thing that I always go to, and this is the case with a lot of handsome guys who maybe aren't that bright, is it always reminds me of, and we're going back to the first episode of Movie of the Year ever. It always reminds me of Edward Norton thinking about Brad Pitt being dragged around by Helena Bonham Carter, right? And like they're in the apartment and he sees the dildo, but really he's just dancing and grooving the entire time and just is like really sort of not in control of his story. He just he's just dancing to a beat and he just moves through life.
See, I don't see George as that way, really. I see George as, instead of like the dancing through life and never stops moving because he's enjoying life so much, it seems like he can't stop. That like he fears quietude, he fears stillness, and that's why like Goldie Hawn has, or Jill, because it's not really Goldie Hawn, she's playing a part.
Although Goldie Hawn and Julie Christie were both ex Warren Beatty girlfriends.
Is that true?
Not ex. Julie Christie and him were like fizzling during this, and Goldie Hawn and him were sleeping together started during this.
Warren Beatty, ladies and gentlemen.
It's crazy because everything you read, they're like, well, it's based on several hairdressers known throughout Hollywood. And they're like, Ryan, you said it's obvious. What did he know that it's based on him? Because he feels like he really wants to separate George and Warren.
No, I do think that this is his sort of come to God moment. Like, as far as what it reminds me of, honestly, is Cheers. It reminds me of all the things that Sam Malone went through. But I think that you're right, Greg, in that if I stop, Goldie Hawn straight up says, you're always moving, but you're never going anywhere.
Yeah,
and
great line.
If he stops, he will be self-reflective. And that would be the most fucking dangerous. For a guy who is always looking in the mirror, to do that would be so dangerous to his health.
Because you know what movie I really thought of a lot with this one was Uncut Gems. Like, this is so much Howard from Uncut Gems. Just like, the second you leave one thing, you go right to the next thing, and then you're wrapped up in that. And, like, the salon scenes reminded me especially of Uncut Gems, where it's just, like, 8 people trying to talk to him at the same time, and he's just like, shampoo this person, and get out of my way. And it's like, he, on one hand, is like, you could view him as so free and having so much, because he gets to have sex with, like, 8 different women over the course of this movie. But what a miserable existence, because he just is bouncing from one thing to the next perpetually and constantly in trouble and barely getting out of it, and getting out of it by getting into a different type of trouble.
I mean,
it all seems exhausting.
Yeah, where Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems is the tension and like the deal making. His is sex. I don't think this guy likes sex. I think he knows if he goes to substance.
I don't think he likes
time,
anything.
Yeah, if he goes to substance, he's like, well, I'll have a problem. But everybody's fine with fucking. Like, that's his outlet. Yeah.
Uncut Gems and Shampoo should be put in the genre of what Requiem for a Dream. Like, they are addict movies, and they are
for sure.
They are the addictions are different, and the addictions are legal for them, but they're absolutely addicts who, every time they think about kicking their thing, they instead just do the thing again, get off a little bit on whatever it is, and then keep moving.
So maybe that's a better view of his sort of cluelessness, because it's not really cluelessness. It's he doesn't want to think about what he's doing, because it's kind of a nightmare. I mean, when he will sometimes say, I love women, but it's like, bro, you don't love women. Like, you don't even like women. When you start talking about a woman for more than a couple seconds, you either don't know what to say, or you start like kind of bad mouthing them, or just trying to draw them into really compromising situations.
It's I think another amazing part about this movie, that the fact that he works in a hair salon, he's like this incredible artist as far as hair goes, I think is an amazing part, because he could have been a New York gambler or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the fact that hairdoers have to treat them like it's a factory. Get them in, get them out, let's go.
Yeah.
Sort of.
They're just heads.
Yeah. Sort of like ripples throughout the rest of his entire life.
And then that kind of comes full circle, him just calling them heads all the time when he's doing that one woman's hair.
Man.
And he's just like rubbing his crotch on her, or I guess he's rubbing her head on his crotch.
Put your head right in D's.
Yeah.
She's like, D's what? And he says, D's nuts.
Now, so we seem to think George is not a himbo, but what's the movie stance on the himbo limbo?
I think it's more like he's one type of exploitative man, because really it's easy to focus on George, but that's the focus should be on Lester. It should also be on Johnny Pope, because these are different types of man who are all trying to basically do the same thing, which is use whatever advantage they have to just kind of like wear down and sort of trap women into their lifestyle.
And I think that's
such
where
a good point. Sorry, Ryan.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's a good point because and all of them judge the other ones.
Yes.
Where Johnny Pope is the biggest, where he's just like sneers at George and Lester, like, look at what they're doing while he's trying to fuck this actress who's trying to audition for his.
And I'm trying not to judge Johnny Pope, but to have the mustache and the tinted glasses at the same time, what are we doing here? Yeah.
And that's why, like, Lester is the most traditional dude to roll your eyes at and hate, but there's also, like, what Pops from Dirty Work brings to Lester is, like, this authenticity. Even though he's a lying dirtbag, there's an authenticity, and that's why he ends up liking George, where he's not judging. Like, he judges George when he thinks he's gay, but when he sees what George is, he's like, dudes are gonna dude, right? Like, and you're like, I don't like it, but it was interesting to have that charming angle he brought to it.
And that's the thing that like Hal Ashby I think is doing is that we want the character who's going to go and fight against the man, or like we want somebody to like punch up and give comeuppance. And Hal Ashby, who was if you take all of the characters, all the actors, all of the crew, the most hippie person that is on the set, he is like, I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to have George realize not that he's the best, but he is equally bad to all of these people. And I think,
well, I mean, Lester says to George, like, I know your counterculture. And George is like, no, I'm not. Because that's like too much of being anything. He's not committed to
I won't even be counterculture.
No, like, and he can't say what he is committed to, because really all he is committed to is his appetites.
Is him. Yeah. I got real Don Draper when Draper is trying to hang out with the hippies. Like,
yeah,
he wants to put on different hats, but he can't help from judge everybody.
He can't not judge.
George is better at hiding the judgment off his face than Don is, but it's the same kind of guy as I'm empty, but I will call out all of these other people I'm going to call empty around me.
And when Lester is about to get in the jacuzzi with the hippies,
oh yeah,
like he's got this face, the same face that George does, and you don't even realize that George has this face the entire movie until you see Lester, and he's like, I do not like you. I want to be liked by you. And that is ultimately it's our propulsion and our destruction, is that all of these people want to be cool, and that need to be cool is what makes them not cool. And that includes George. And I think the movie wears that on its front.
They all just want to be liked by people that they themselves don't like. They want to be pursued by people that they don't really want to be with. They're all,
and that's Don Draper as fuck.
Yeah, for sure. They're all looking to like the next place to jump. And meanwhile, no one's looking at what they already have.
Which is why I think Jackie leaves with Lester, because George is like, no, I'm going to make it work this time. But that is, hey, baby, this time I'll stay clean. Like, that is like, it's so clear. He didn't actually have a reason to learn. He just suddenly decided in that moment.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can change without a rock bottom.
I don't care what you think about Beatty's performance or George's face or anything about that last speech where he proposes to Julie Christie. Fuck you, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here. And the movie was teaching us, like, we're rooting for George, but there's no way that George can win in the end. Yeah. Like, he is as awful. Like, it's just this cycle of egomaniacal terrible that we're all in.
That's why I think it's important that we see him in a day and a half of his life. Because nobody changes in a day and a half, and especially not somebody like this.
And I mean, we know that, both Warren Beatty and the guy that this was like one of the people that this was based on both go on to then like just have Hollywood careers where I'm sure they never once slow down or stop or consider anybody else's emotions. Like it would be so hard to believe that you could have George settled anywhere. Like, is there a reality where he gets the bank loan and he marries the girl and he just has the hair salon where he has 6 guys cutting under him? That's a pipe dream. It's nothing he'll ever really do.
That's what's interesting about the Beatty-ness of it is Beatty does do that at a certain point where he gets with Diane Keaton and does stop making so many movies. And maybe he was a dog the whole time and like cheated on her, but like as far as we all know, he was just like, "Oh, I'm done." And I think he's only made something like 23 movies his whole career. Like, it is a small number. His average of how many awards he gets to how many movies he's in is insane.
Yeah, and I don't think that we not just as a podcast, but like as a film society, realize the impact that Warren Beatty has had on the history of film. It's kind of crazy, to be in Bonnie and Clyde and then to make this movie and then to go on to make Reds and just sort of like fight for...
And Bulwark.
And Bulworth. And like
he had that part in Truth or Dare.
Of course, because he was dating Madonna from Dick Tracy. But like the actor's auteur, like this movie was directed by Hal Ashby, but in the biggest quotes possible because he was working with Warren Beatty. And Warren Beatty, like an actor like no other.
I should also say I saw Warren Beatty in person like 6 years ago. Or
Hold on, you should have disclosed that before we started this podcast.
You get a point just for that, Greg.
And he's an older gentleman at this point. He has a golden aura around him. We just barely walked past him. I mean, like he didn't even like lay eyes on us. My wife and I just happened to pass him. But like his presence just on a London street was like profound. So I believe that at the height of his powers, he probably could have had, any woman that he set his sights on.
Dude, we have to give it up at some point in this show to Annette Bening, who I would say is an even bigger person than Amal Clooney in that, no, I got this. And then just did it. Like, handled it. Like, this stick man is off the market, and he was like, yeah, no, I love Annette Bening. Who knew?
Well, Annette Bening. What did I say? Diane Keaton? Different woman. Different older woman.
Yeah, that's what... okay, we should have interrupted, right, Greg?
Yeah, you really should have interrupted.
Well, there's so much I don't know that I'm just like, that's cool.
He dated Diane Keaton. So
just like, all right.
I flipped the script there. And I've never heard Stickman, so it's good. That just means Dickman?
Stickman is how Michael Rappaport, I want to say, talked about... who's the old coach from Rocky?
Meredith Burgess?
Meredith Burgess, a legendary stickman. Apparently,
dude.
he fucked everything that moved.
Well, that's the kind of power Brick gives you. Just nonstop rock hard claymation dick.
Based on people I know named Meredith, yeah.
A break. And when we come back, we'll talk about babies.
Mount Rushmore!
As we all know, Mount Rushmore is dedicated to the 4 biggest stickmen of the U.S. presidents. In our history. That is not what we're doing today. We're going to do the 4 biggest stick babies.
Hey,
nope, this has nothing to do with being stick.
Mike.
Come on, Mike.
Who do you think of the 3 of us is the most legendary stick man?
Mike. Mike's the biggest slut.
I thought we should talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Mike was a major fuckboy. Mike, did this movie at all...
Show your receipts.
Did this movie at all point out to you that it's actually kind of bad to just fuck a bunch of women?
Oh, yeah, but I think
pointed out that it was bad to get married. Like, what were you doing, Mike?
I think my own life pointed that out to me long before I watched Shampoo.
And that's why you changed?
Yeah. At a certain point, you go, oh, that's why I feel empty? At a certain point, look in that mirror, George, and it'll help. So, I'm going to deal with that in therapy later.
Several of these people, because they're born in 75, right? So this might be like, there might be more than one Beatty child on this list.
Yeah. All of mine are Beatty children.
Ew.
So we have 1975 babies. That's right. The most famous people born in 75. Ryan, how would you define this mountain?
Perfect. What is, we're going to make a mountain of people who shaped our shit. I think this is sort of like a spinoff of Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Like,
This is us specific?
I thought so.
Okay.
Otherwise, of like who was born then that in 75 that like sort of changed and shaped our lives.
Oh, okay. Because it's a very different list.
Well,
yes.
If it's like most iconic for people in the world versus just for us.
Here's why I say that, Greg. Mike is the judge. Mike gives points. I believe David Beckham was born in 1975.
Yeah, that's like a perfect example.
That's who I guess I'm going to cross off my list.
Not going to work. Mike doesn't care.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I just have to reorganize some of these, but I think it's basically the same list.
Yeah. It's all about changing the argument.
Delete David Beckham off my list. Probably one of the biggest stars of all time in the world.
The first person I wrote down of double points if you say him. But
the person who locked down Posh Spice. Imagine. I don't know what else he did. What did he do? Play basketball?
I don't care.
Had an amazing
He's famous
body.
for locking down Posh Spice and for being so handsome.
Soccer players' bodies.
He bent it.
They're stupid.
Oh, he bent it.
Oh, he bent it. Let me tell you that right now.
Ryan, you should go on here.
Mike, this was so hard for me, but we're in, as of this recording, Spider-Man No Way Home is the biggest trailer of all time. 355 million views.
Crazy.
It beat both Endgame trailers. Somebody else who was born in 1975 is Tobey Maguire. And it is hard to talk about what an impact this person has had. We didn't have a lot of superhero, representation on screen back when Tobey Maguire was in Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 has been a Movie of the Year podcast. Tobey Maguire is still arguably the best Peter Parker, although I think that Tom Holland is in that argument, and I don't think anybody argues about Andrew Garfield. I think that this movie this Rushmore is going to get laid to waste with females. And so let's put in the token male Tobey Maguire.
Good. Maybe
Why
I
don't
like
we
that.
respect some dudes and dong before we give it to the ladies? I think great arguments. Toby Mac is on the maybe file.
Oh my God.
Okay, so
Greg?
if, as Ryan proposes, we are doing a more us-specific 1975,
I might be wrong. Mike, am I wrong?
I mean, who knows what I decide?
Ah, dang.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
was going to get a little free peek there. Very sporting of you, Ryan, to ask that question in between our two turns.
Yeah.
But I am still, even though that is something that you totally made up, I'm going to believe you instantly and then also follow behind you. And I'm going to say that Taika Waititi is a
Wait, hold on, Greg. Mike's director team in the director draft?
Exactly.
That Taika Waititi?
In our own Hall of Fame. Very famously made out with two women very close to us. And then got
in a
yelled
very
at.
George Shampoo style.
Made out with two women who is in our unrecorded hottest girls of all time draft that we do not talk about on the podcast.
But see, whereas George got in trouble with the women and then kind of didn't care about his boss, instead Taika Waititi got in trouble with his boss but also didn't care about that. That is still, for me, the coolest moment is still that he got yelled at by Disney for doing that. But Taika Waititi, I mean, where would we be without our good friend Taika Waititi?
We wouldn't have one head on this mountain,
Boom.
that's for goddamn sure.
Boom, shakalaka.
Ryan?
Unbelievable. Okay, so
Unbelievable.
now I'm going to go to Mike's other instincts because Mike likes great acting.
He does.
do.
Mike likes where he's from. We don't like where Mike is from, but Mike does. And who did a Philly accent better than one Kate Winslet in Mayor of Easttown, who has basically taken the acting world by storm? I saw on a cover of a magazine that she has taken the acting world by storm. I would say one of our nation, and she's not even part of our nation's, greatest actresses. No, actors. And is yet in the most talked about series that is not White Lotus of the year, Mayor of Easttown.
And she plays mayor.
She plays Mayor of Easttown. Between Titanic and now, I would say that she is the most heralded, most awarded actress. She is sort of the Meryl Streep of her generation. I think that Kate Winslet has to be on this mountain.
Not only because you did a God-smacking argument there, Ryan. Kate Winslet is on the mountain. Plus all the things you said. Though she doesn't have a Philly accent, she has a Delco accent. Get it right.
Oh, my goodness, these people.
Yeah.
Wait, I already got the point, Mike?
Yeah, you got that point.
These fucking people, Greg. I swear to God.
I can't bring myself to feel any way about Philadelphia. No matter how you feel about Philly, you're just playing into their game, unless you're just like, I don't know.
Look, if you love us, we freak out. If you hate us, we're even happier.
I have to say, I want one of those cheesesteaks. You know.
They're so good.
So
I like you people more than Boston people. Does that help?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who does a better Philly accent than Kate Winslet? Well, how about someone who really does one? Bradley Cooper. He's Rocket Raccoon. He was in Silver Linings Playbook, a movie that is still shown at the Philadelphia City Hall of Fame every Christmas because of how important it is to Philadelphia culture. Also gave us, what was that movie that he was in where he was the guy who snorted a bunch of heroin?
The Hangover?
Star is Born. There you go. Let me get another look at you. But mostly he's Rocket Raccoon.
You're so fucking ugly. You're so fucking ugly.
Man, I'm still kind of chapped that fictional character said that in that movie. I don't know why. That's just that's so mean to say to your girlfriend. Why would you do that?
Look at me. Bradley Cooper is on that maybe pile.
Coops.
Ryan.
Oops, I cooped my pants.
Wait, hold on. Let's let Greg continue to come up with biography titles. Mike, I want to talk about somebody who is not just beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside.
Pedro Pascal. That's who I was going to say next.
Somebody who is just has gently touched all of our favorite franchises, whether it be the Fast and the Furious. Is it Mad Max? Is it somebody who can start her own franchise like Atomic Blonde? Is it somebody who...
Or Old Guard can start one off and then right away pass it off to somebody else?
Can we discuss Old Guard for a second? This lady has gone from I'm a hot girl in the late 90s to one of the best actresses that we have. It's Charlize Theron, and she is a 1975 baby.
Yeah, she's right on this mountain. To do your career backwards is awesome. From hot girl, no, I want that Oscar. Cool, I'm going to have fun and do whatever the fuck I want from now on. I'm going to learn how to fight, guys.
She ran up to that podium, said yoink to the Oscar, and then just started making dope-ass movies. I love this person.
I just watched Prometheus again. I was watching all the Alien movies, and in a franchise full of really creepy people, aliens, and robots, she is the creepiest person in the entire series, I swear. And that's kind of the beginning of her being in more broad action-y movies. It's awesome.
Also, you know what movie I really like? Long Shot. Guys, get some Seth Rogen and Charlize.
Oh, the Seth Rogen one? Yeah, I've heard that the stock on that is rising.
It's really good. It's really good. And she's amazing in
Seth
it.
Rogen.
You gotta like Seth Rogen. He looks like if all three of us combined into a Voltron.
I'm in your phone.
All right. Gregory, your turn.
All right.
There's only one spot left on the mountain, may I remind you, gentlemen.
Let's not mess around anymore.
Let's stop
fucking around. What are we doing?
There is a celebrity who's almost bigger than celebrity itself, and she is an amazing dynamo. Angelina Jolie. You referencing the leg from
the Oscar leg?
The Oscars 3 years ago?
Yeah.
A very timely reference. But Angelina Jolie has done her own sort of career progression, and now she's in this really austere, almost spooky phase where she plays very powerful, angular women, and she owns that as much as she ever did the softer, rounder young women, and scares the freaking shit out of me in most of the movies she's in. I think she's going to be in Eternals, right?
Yeah, she is in the Eternals.
Athena in Eternals. It just seems like she's finally playing the roles that she actually looks like she should play.
But she's got the cheekbones.
Anytime she's I'm a normal girl, you're like, okay, what?
I wish she would have a different line of dialogue every once in a while, but that's fine.
All right, Angelina Jolie is on the maybe pile because we only have one sub. So we gotta. I think there's one clear. I'm putting this out there. There's one clear one that will lock this for me, and there's one if you say it, I will cackle and put so many points up your butt.
Okay. Nice to hear that
Ryan.
right before your turn, Ryan.
It's your turn.
Oh, Taika Waititi.
Greg gets that.
No,
point.
I'm out. I don't have.
You're
any
out.
Oh, I got more. I got. Man, should I just go for a while here, Mike?
Just give me two.
Okay, here's one that's less recently super big, but bigger for a longer period of time than anybody else on this list. Drew Barrymore was born in 1975. Drew Barrymore has been a star since E.T. and continues to still be a star well into 51st Dates, let's say. I don't think anybody has the longevity she has. And then for the last one, Jason Sudeikis. America's nice guy, Ted Lasso himself, out
All
there
right.
representing America.
Would have gotten a buttload of points if you said Red Foo, 1/2 of LMFAO.
Is that the uncle or the nephew?
Who could say?
I hope it's the uncle.
But
I don't know
your
why, but I hope it's the uncle.
Rushmore of 1975 is Taika Waititi, Kate Winslet, Charlize Theron, and Drew Barrymore.
What the fuck?
When we come back, more Shampoo. Taste Buds, after doing countless seasons of Movie of the Year, something we've learned is that American movies are scared poopless of sex, even in the 70s. Does Shampoo finally break this tradition, or does it show that sex, cheating, and emotional entanglement are pretty flat and lifeless?
Yeah,
If so, is that the whole point?
Sorry about that. It in no way breaks the tradition of that. It hardly shows any sex. None of the sex is staged in an interesting way at all. It feels like, so much of it feels like lifeless bodies going through them. It's like zombies or something, going through the motions at the end of everything. It's funny to think of this movie. Isn't it Boogie Nights that like has the 70s to the 80s? That's like the beginning of the apocalypse. This movie has like the end, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the 60s to the 70s crossover. Seems to be like the apocalyptic period. And so everything everyone's doing here is just joyless, lifeless, and like punitive almost.
Much like sex is in real life, Greg. Let's be
No,
honest.
it rules. It's so fun. It's you and your best friend just having fun.
No, you're just
Having
forced
like
to do it.
30 seconds of fun, and then you get to nap?
Finally, sweet nap. I think that the sex is not great in this movie, but the sex talk is good in this movie. And I think...
Good how, though. Wait, sorry to interrupt. Good how.
No,
I have
always
to point-
interrupt.
I have to point to I want to suck his cock. And Julie Christie at that dinner scene, I think that was roughly as crazy as a train coming towards the screen and people running out of the theaters. I think that was such a weird moment for American movies.
It's unexpected.
Now, of course, European movies had done this in the 30s.
Her
so
saying
that's
it
no big deal.
is unexpected. And then your brain is still wrapping around what she said, and you're reacting like the old guy. And then she starts to try to do it. And you're like, wait, is she trying to do the thing she just said she wanted to do?
When somebody says, make sure I don't drink too much, and then like downs 4 drinks in a row, I think you have to like pick that person up and put them in a cab. Like that person needs to leave the party right away.
Yeah, and especially once they start saying, this is your fault. That's not fair, guys.
Oh. Is that something that people say around you a lot, Mike?
Yup.
Weird.
But it's the way sex is in this movie is almost like, it feels like an obligation. Like everybody
Yes.
does it with everybody else out of this weird sense of like, well, this is freedom, I guess.
But like I think that's sort of the point, and I do think that the build up to sex is what they're saying is the interesting part. Like who's going to have sex with who is the interesting part, and then sex is just sex.
Ryan.
Yeah, but sex rules. Like,
But sex is just sex, except for that they still all get jealous. Is it not about sex? Is that about the power then? As Janome Monáe
yeah,
saying?
it's ownership. Sex is like the ultimate ownership of everybody, and it's almost like you have to check everybody off your box. And everyone is aware that like everyone else is having sex with everybody else, and it's making them all so sad constantly.
Yeah,
But I think instead of saying that like this is sex through an American lens, I think this is sex, but like this is how Americans view sex, which seems like this thing I just said. But I think that what they're saying is that the buildup is crazy, the sex is whatever, but it's not like we try to be. Back then, they tried to all be European about it, but it's not like try to be like, well, you know, we all fuck everyone and it's fine, and it's not. It's like,
But even
it's
Europeans
really hard to
aren't.
watch.
Even Europeans aren't European about it, right? That's like a myth. Like the unfortunate reality is that like the free love atmosphere is tough to maintain because people do get hurt by it. And if you really want to like live in that lifestyle, you have to be committed to it in a way that takes a lot of emotional work, not just freedom. You know, like being
But I think-
polyamorous is not like actually that freeing. There's like a lot of emotional.
a lot of barriers and structures and
Yeah.
contracts and discussions,
Yeah.
which more people should have, conversations about their emotions. But also, it's interesting about the free love movement is how much it was just a different version of normal dude bullshit.
Yes.
When all those hippie
Yes,
couples, they're
and
like,
so-
free love for
Smart.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying that Goldie Hawn throwing that chair through the window is the cinematic equivalent of Mookie throwing the trash can through the window and do the right thing. But I do sort of think it had this thing of fuck this, dude. Like,
It
fuck
breaks
this
the
free love
illusion.
bullshit. Yeah, like, you know what? I tried to be cool and I'm not. And I thought Goldie Hawn knew about the cheating the entire movie.
Well, it's everybody. See, that's what's going on in this movie, though. That's an interesting point, Ryan. Everybody knows, but they won't admit that they know. And that's the thing. Like, you can see in every conversation, people are like, okay, obviously my girlfriend is fucking this guy, but if I can keep myself from fully realizing that, it won't be a disaster. And so everybody is constantly trying to stay away from their own understanding.
Han is the best at, Jill is the best at, I don't know if she knows or not. I guess she's the best at like really living that lie. I think when she cracks is, as they all kind of do, is actually seeing it. But it's like, I expect this from George, but Jackie, you're my best friend. You
Right.
too.
That doesn't matter. And Goldie would have been best to just go home and masturbate and just do a Han Solo. I think that this movie does an incredible job of pointing out that, yeah, like, we are all fucking everyone, so we aren't hurt by the fact that everyone is fucking everyone. You know, like,
But they're all hurt all the time. Like Felicia, when she realizes who Jackie is at the party, Lester is fucking Jackie. Jackie is George's best friend. It's a very incestuous group of people of different tax brackets.
And I do think that they're making the point that L.A. in general is incestuous. Like, this is not a specific group, right? Like, it's everyone in Los Angeles.
But Felicia gets so upset to realize that Lester's fling is there when she invited her fling there. So it's they're all hypocrites. And is that the movie's message? Is it trying to say nobody uses sex correctly?
Yes. Yeah.
I think
they all have a disordered relationship with it. They're all trying to get something different. They're trying to use it to get ahead economically, or they're using it to get ahead socially, or they're using it to get ahead politically, or as an addiction, or as just like a scoring device. And I think that's what sex is for.
One of the most important lines besides Warren Beatty's breakdown in front of Goldie Hawn is Warren Beatty's telling Julie Christie, at least I don't do it for money. You know, he's saying, I only do it for fun, which is bullshit on both counts.
Yes.
You know, like, he is giving Julie Christie unwarranted shit and giving himself unwarranted
because he absolutely does it for
trophies.
money. And he absolutely does not do it for fun, because nobody is having any fun in this movie at all.
Yeah, is he actually a great hairdresser, or is he a great lay?
That's a really good question. I don't know if he does hair good.
No,
well,
you don't
he
really
seems like he
see
never
him do
finishes
it.
a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really see him do it. I mean,
Well, I guess he does Jackie's hair, and then they
A
start
little
fucking in
bit.
the steam room. But like, he changes her hair completely, and it does look really good there.
And
but that's
Jackie
like the only
looked
time
like-
we see it.
Jackie looked like trash before he, like, that wig she was wearing was insane. Like, that was so bad before Warren Beatty got a hold of it.
and he never talks about like why he does hair, or like, it obviously doesn't mean anything to him. It's the same thing kind of as sex. Like then they make that connection a lot, but like,
But there's the other thing, too, of, like, Jack Warden is upset that his wife is cheating on him, but not as much as it is that his mistress is cheating on him.
Yeah.
And then once he learns that the mistress is cheating on somebody, she's not cheating because he's gay, like, that, like, appeases him somehow. It's all these, like, sexual politics. Greg, the country wife, should we talk about the country wife?
what is the country wife?
Country Wife is like a play from like the 1600s that this is sort of based on, and it's just about a guy who says, "Hey, I'm impotent, so you all of your guys' relationships, could I just hang out with all your wives?" And they're like, "Well, if you're impotent, sure." And Beatty in town saw this play, and they were like, "Oh, this is a movie," and this is it. It's just like, "Oh, if he's a hairdresser, then he must be quote unquote impotent."
Yeah, it's interesting almost that they only deal with it in one scene. That the rest of the time is just.
And this is when Beatty acts Faye.
Assumed. Well, I guess so. Two scenes. So Beatty acts Faye, but also Lester asks. He's like, he says, is he a fairy? And she's like, what? And he's thinking business. And he's like, well, you can see different things. The businessman and the guy who is jealous of another dude fucking. And he's like, well, I want him to be straight because in my head, a straight man is good at business and reliable,
and like trustworthy.
But if he's gay, that does mean he won't fuck you, but it does mean I don't know if I can trust him business wise. And all of it is so convoluted and wrong headed. And you're like, what?
And
then
just white man logic.
He has a similar conversation with Carrie Fisher, right?
Yeah.
But,
Okay,
you
so
know-
I guess it's more than one scene.
Yeah, because I think there's that assumption, right? Like, are you around all these women because you want to sleep with them, or are you around them because you specifically don't want to sleep with them?
Right.
And this is a way in which like masculinity and heteronormativity is like so programmed into us that people are constantly like managing whether who's gay, who's straight, what are they up to?
And what we're talking about right now is the scene with the bank loan guy of like, give me a bank loan because I'm a star. I'm an absolute star. Going back to Boogie Nights, like this guy is Dirk Diggler.
Yeah,
I'm a
for
star.
sure. I mean, even looks like Dirk Diggler.
Look at the heads I get.
And then is denied, and he knows why he's denied, but still won't stop acting as quote unquote punk rock as he is. Like, I'm still going to be myself.
And this is the same bank that had just denied the Human Torch a bank loan. Just to put it into perspective.
That's actually every day in the 70s, Greg.
What he should have done is say, I have some money on the top of my fridge. I would like to put more money in the jar on top of my fridge. Bank, that's where you come in.
I'm so glad that you guys both watched one 90s movie and quote it constantly.
Good burn. That is all the time we have to talk about sex and sexuality.
Woo!
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more shampoo.
Trivia.
That is correct, young little robot. It is time for trivia. Taste buds, you know these rules. The rules are easy, but the game is hard. I will give you a trivia question. You will wait till I'm done and ring in with your name. You get it right, you get a point. You get it wrong, person gets a chance to steal. If you get it wrong again, back and forth until I get bored and say, no, nobody gets a chance to answer that question.
And then the whole segment just slows down.
It slows down, and everybody's like, what's going on now? So, let's kick it off. Question first. Why did Julie Christie, who plays Jackie, join the film even though she didn't like the role?
Ryan.
Greg.
Ryan?
She was Warren Beatty's girlfriend?
Ryan.
Correct. She said, as an avowed feminist, I do not like this role, but Warren, we're together. I guess I'll do it. And then he fucked Goldie Hawn. Question the second. Whose film debut was this?
Ryan.
Ryan.
This was, of course,
All right, don't do IMDb scrolling voice, Ryan. I can see that you're not, but the audience can't.
this was the tinted lens mustache guy's film debut.
Okay, nope. Greg, you can steal.
Greg. Goldie Hawn?
No. That is all the chances you get. Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher's first
Oh, yeah,
movie.
of course.
shit.
That makes sense. She's like 18.
17. The character was 17. Gross.
What movie did young Mike used to confuse Shampoo with?
Ryan.
Greg.
Greg.
Hair.
No, but that's a good...
Is there, you think, any connection there? Because Hair is like the other big hippie movie.
When he first came up with the idea, Warren Beatty wanted to call it Hair, and then somebody whispered in his ear and
There's
went,
something called
never mind.
Ryan?
Ryan, do you want to steal? Yes.
Hairspray?
No, soap dish.
Okay, that makes sense.
What's the weirdest part of that film confusion?
Greg.
Ryan.
Greg.
They're not really that similar.
I mean, that's the surface. There has to be something a little weirder than that. They're not similar at all, but
Sorry. I'm very pleased with myself. Continue the
That's
podcast
fine.
without me.
Ryan?
Ryan,
Sally Field has seen both films.
I'm sure she has, but it's Carrie Fisher's in both.
Oh, yeah.
Name one movie Carrie Fisher script doctored.
Ryan?
Ryan?
Postcards from the Edge.
No, she just wrote that.
It's a pretty good doctor.
That's not
No,
doctored.
she did a really good job.
I'll give a hint. It was referenced at some point recently in the show.
Greg. Soap dish.
No, that's a good call. We could do a back and forth ride. Do another guess.
I will say Spaceballs.
No.
When Harry Met Sally.
Nope. All right, we'll stop. The one I was thinking of that we just referenced was The Wedding Singer.
Really? She was script doctor.
She also script doctored Sister Act, Last Action Hero, Anastasia, Lethal Weapon 3, Hook, and so many more.
Did you say Sister Action Hero?
Sister Action Hero, the last Sister Action Hero. Who is Goldie Hawn's non-Kate Hudson kid?
Ryan.
Ryan?
Chuck Russell. Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell, attorney at law.
It is Wyatt Russell.
The fake
you son
Captain
of a
America?
bitch. It's the fake
The
Captain
guy from Lodge
America.
49?
It is.
Dud.
Indeed. Dud. Name another Goldie Hawn Warren Beatty movie.
Ryan.
Ryan?
I am going to say you can't just say your name if you don't know the answer. It's so much pressure.
But what if you figure
Name
it
one
out
in
after you say
3,
your name?
2,
Bulworth.
1. Nope. Greg?
Greg, Bugsy.
Just bugs. It's $sign or Town and Country. Number 8. My name isn't fucking Warren. Name that movie.
Ryan.
Ryan?
Empire Records.
Correct. What's better, shampoo or conditioner? Greg?
Shampoo, because otherwise your hair is going to be dirty. It doesn't matter if it's soft and lustrous if it's dirty.
Ryan.
Correct. Ryan?
Right. Conditioner keeps the hair silky and smooth.
That is a good point there, too.
But it'll be dirty. It'll be smooth, but like
It'll
dirty
be
and
dirty.
oily.
No, Greg will get the point. Why was Paul Simon's song cut from the credits?
Ryan.
Ryan?
They wanted the Beach Boys instead.
No.
Greg,
Greg?
because the record company wouldn't release it.
No, he wrote it specifically for this. Beatty thought it made his character sound too vain. Question 11.
Wait, hold on.
What's-
Isn't there a song called You're So Vain?
Question 11. What's funny about Beatty cutting a song about himself being so vain?
Brian.
Greg.
Because there's that song about that song. You're so vain, and it's about
Yes,
him.
that's
Ryan.
correct, Greg. Ryan.
By Carly Simon.
That's true. It is by
Who has the
Carly
last
Simon.
name of Paul Simon?
It's all connected. What's the weirdest thing that's been used for hair care?
Ryan.
Greg,
Ryan?
Jism.
No.
Greg,
Greg?
manure like animal scat.
Ew, I hope not. What I got is dead lizards boiled in olive oil as conditioner.
I think scat's worse than that.
I think Jism is worse than that.
How often should you shampoo your hair?
Ryan.
Greg?
Twice a week. Don't overdo it.
I like that. Twice a week. Okay. Ryan, do you have a different opinion?
Literally every day, keep the follicles open and alive.
Greg.
Nope. Greg is closer to what I believe. So
You guys are both
3 or
stinky
4
hippies.
times. What 90s cartoon does Beatty still to this day want to produce, direct, and star in a live-in-action remake of?
Greg.
Ryan.
Greg.
The Animaniacs.
No, that'd be awesome. Ryan?
Ryan. Rugrats.
No. Greg?
Batman Beyond.
Nope, that'd be dope too.
God, that would be
Ryan?
cool, wouldn't it?
He's old Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Fuck, I can see it.
Warren Beatty is Doug in Doug.
It's Pokemon because his grandkids like it.
Warren Beatty, man.
True or false? Mike saw Empire Records before even knowing who Warren Beatty was.
Greg.
Ryan.
Greg.
True.
Very true. I didn't get the joke in that movie for a long time. 16. What DC superhero was Beatty the visual inspiration for?
Ryan.
Ryan?
The Joker.
No. Joker's... No.
Greg.
Greg?
DC superhero that he's the inspiration for? Batman, Bruce Wayne.
No, both of those exist long before Warren Beatty. It is Green Lantern Charlie Vicker, which was a convoluted... He played Green Lantern on the TV show Green Lantern, and then aliens thought he was the real Green Lantern, and later he became a real Green Lantern, the Green Lantern Corps.
I'm sorry, Mike. Did you say
Fuck, were we supposed to know that, Mike? Give me a break.
Did you say
I thought you were
superhero?
comic nerds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I was going to say Charlie Vicker. I take back the Joker thing.
I thought you were talking about how in Batman Beyond they based Bruce Wayne off of Warren Beatty.
Oh, okay. I see the confusion there. Who's the best Green Lantern and why?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Kyle Rayner, because he's an artist.
Greg?
I was gonna say Greg because I was gonna say Hal Jordan because he's like he's the one that went bad, obviously, but that's the most interesting thing that's ever happened in a Green Lantern comic was when Hal Jordan went totally nuts.
Kyle Rayner was an artist, bro.
He's a freelance artist, Ryan. Okay,
Yeah.
He wasn't just an artist.
So he's trying to figure out how to pay the bills.
Greg wins that.
What?
What's the most memorable Warren Beatty poster?
Ryan.
Ryan?
Dick Tracy. Every poster that Warren Beatty has, by the way, is Dick Tracy because I trace my dick on every poster that he's ever had.
Oh dear.
Oh, dear. Greg, do you have a better guess?
I'm gonna say that Bugsy Malone movie he was in.
It's called
No.
Bugsy. Fuck.
I know, but when I said that earlier, he made fun of me, and so I thought I got it wrong.
It's not that.
Oh, Bulworth.
Oh, is
it's Bulworth. It's Warren Beatty crawling out of his own mouth. It's obviously Bulworth.
But he already answered for himself.
Oh.
No, but then I answered again, and then I got it right.
Yeah, I wonder if you're getting the points right now.
Okay, how
What?
about I wrap all the rest of my answers Warren Beatty style?
What connects Empire Records and one of Mike's other favorite movies, Dazed and Confused?
Ryan.
Ryan?
The timeline, it's all like 24 hours.
That's not the official answer, but you're going to point for that because that's also true.
Ryan.
So, Greg, there is a chance for another point.
Okay, so what are the two movies again?
Empire Records,
Yes.
Dazed and Confused.
They both have Liv Tyler. Is Liv Tyler in Dazed and Confused?
No, it is that, though. It's actor Rory Cochrane. He is Lucas in Empire Records and long-haired stony kid in Dazed and Confused.
If I get a bumper sticker that says, like, live free, live proud, live Tyler, would you guys buy one of those?
I would. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I would for sure.
That is all the time we have for trivia. We're going to take a quick break and then spend more than 30 seconds on a question about shampoo.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com. And it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review. Bye!
Taste buds. Shampoo is often called a satire and even a comedy. What is it satirizing? Has time erased its laughs? And if not, where's that laughter come from?
I think what it's satirizing is the way the hippie era led directly into the Nixonian era. I mean, that's... Yeah, I think you said earlier that they, like, denied that setting this on the night Nixon, or the couple days where Nixon actually got elected, that didn't have anything to do with anything. The movie, between when the movie came out and when it is set, is entirely the Nixonian era in America. And the idea that that is something that grows out of the same America that was, like, supposed to be practicing free love and the hippie counterculture movement is such an indictment of the system, the way in which it just, like, makes its own revolution and then sort of absorbs it back into the mainstream.
And what do you think you're actually doing? By, like, going on and, like, changing your Facebook icon to be a cartoon or to be, like, be woke or be unwoke, or, like, what do you think you're actually doing? You're not doing anything. There's one important, like, major point of this movie that I want to bring up. This is the night that Nixon was elected, and literally nobody votes. We have to talk about that.
Right.
But, like, the fact that, like, you're doing so little that you're not even doing the little that you can, you know? And
Okay, that's what you're connecting to the Facebook thing? I was trying to know what the hell
but, like,
you're saying.
but it's also, like, I think that it is Hal Ashby saying, hey, hippies, hey, people that, like, think that they're, like, activists or whatever, you're not doing shit. You're not doing shit. And this is the story of somebody realizing that my terrible, pathetic life has led to nothing.
There's an extra little layer to the political part of it, which is that when they go to the bar that has where they're having the big Nixon, that's like where the kickoff is for the Nixon thing. There's a huge picture of Nixon, which we know in the intervening years, like the ignominy he'd bring to the country. But later in that same scene, in the background, you see a picture of Ronnie Reagan, and they don't even know in 75 all the shit he's gonna fuck up once he gets
Oh
in
man,
there.
he did some damage. Am I right,
Starts
guys?
hacking and
Am I right?
slashing.
The other
He
thing
really
too
left
is
the country in bad shape.
he did. When they're at the bar, they have to be evacuated, and at no point is anybody like, what happened? They're just like, oh no,
Yeah,
we just.
Felicia, like, snorts and laughs as they leave. Like,
Nobody gives a shit at all. They all had to leave the bar, and they're like, well, Los Angeles, am I right? Nobody asked why was it a bomb threat? You know, like, a couple seasons ago, we watched Brazil, and they would have actual bombings
Bombings.
go off while they were, like, in the mall or, like, at a diner. This happens in this movie, and nobody questions it at all.
Because it's a movie about people distracting themselves from the reality, right? When they show Lester driving around, the like radio show he listens to is just like the stock ticker, and there's a part where he's driving and it switches and starts talking about like the president of South Vietnam today announced, and Lester changes the channel really quick right back to like just Folgers closed 3.5 points up, like that,
because my life
business is the way that he doesn't pay attention to the fall of everything around him in the same way that sex is for George.
And we already talked about this, but like the last conversation between Lester and George is so important. Just this, like, we think that we're coming together and we think that we're solving problems. And this movie and these people have not solved shit. They have not solved the sexual problems, the cultural problems, or
their
the
interior
world
problems. Nobody has addressed the fact that they're stark raving mad. Like, everybody is so crazy in this movie, and no one addresses that in the least.
But they think they have. They think that they have done this thing where, like, well, now that we're having a civilized conversation, that now we're solving these problems. And, dude, you have only created more. Just wait.
Yeah. As Lester goes off to run away with his mistress, and it goes, now life is good.
I do have to say, though, so it's satirical, but people often confuse satire and comedy. Satire can be funny. It doesn't have to be. This movie is sometimes staged as a comedy, and in fact, there are some rough edges where it looks like things are played for kind of a goofy laughs. But really, it's a comedy minus punchlines.
Yeah.
Like, it's comedic in nature, but it's not, like, maybe because there's no laughing matter here, but, like, very few times is something played for laughs.
I thought we were going to come in and be like, oh, well, this was funny in 75, but not anymore. But that's not true. I don't think it was funny at any point in
It's too nihilistic to be
in the way.
Yeah, it's
in the way that we
like,
think of funny. Like, it's not haha
funny.
But, like, when George is being attacked, he gets to work and he's being attacked, right? By, like, from all sides, from customers, from his bosses. It feels
like
like
boss who wants him to, like, be at work sometimes. Man, get off my case.
I know, dude. I'm late. I'm late sometimes. Shut the fuck up. But, like, it feels like a Frasier episode without punchlines.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
not
a farce
concerned
without
with
comedy.
so a
punchlines.
Frasier episode.
No, but I mean, right? Because this is a classic sex farce. But in sex farces, they always make jokes out of the fact that it's so absurd that, people are hiding from each other. But instead in this, it's like, there's nothing funny.
Isn't this
here
grim?
Because, all of these people are hurting
We're
each other
distracting
so
from
much.
real issues
I think
and causing...
it's a lot like a play
issues.
in that you have to think, isn't this whole thing grim? But isn't this whole thing funny? Not ha 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 funny, but isn't this whole thing funny?
funny. And I think that's why this holds up better than, I'm just assuming we all feel this way, that this holds up better than Holy Grail, because there's not jokes that can get stale. There's just more stuff to sink your teeth
There's not
into.
jokes that get stale, but it's such like an artifact. Like, this is such a 1975 artifact that it's in a lot of ways hard to deny. Like, if you guys hated this movie, I would understand, but it's so 75 and trying to be 75 and trying to be 68 and not trying to be 2020 that, like, it sort of holds up because of that.
The part of our goal on this show is picking a movie that's very emblematic of its time. This is right up there with Dog Day as a movie.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
This is
a
it.
snapshot of 75. Even though it is set in 68, it is about the period between 68 and 75. It's about how 75 was built. It's about how the collapse at the end of the 60s creates the, like, macabre and twisted world of the mid 70s. And so, like, it is dealing with 75 issues in a way that, like, few of the other movies really are.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was dealing with 75 issues. I would say like 4 or 5.
I would say almost 100 issues, actually.
No, that's insane, Grant.
That's too many
so
issues.
many
What
issues.
a mess.
Since I heard
What
you
is this,
disagree
Kentucky
with
Fried
me,
movie?
I've, like, taken the position even harder.
Do you know what's fucked up is the movie poster? It's Warren Beatty, Goldie Hawn, and Jackie, whose name escapes me right now. But they all look modern 75 because they wanted people to take the movie seriously and not think it was like a 60s goof 'em up. And they look weird as not their characters. It does look like Shampoo, a hard-hitting drama about a shampoo place.
But I mean, I feel like it's closer to a hard-hitting drama than it is to a comedy. Like, I mean, it's about the wreckage of people's lives, and you maybe laugh twice in the entire movie, and it's not even like normal jokes. It's like
See, I
bitter
think it's a
laughter.
soft hitting drama because like there's certain dramas that can like gut you, like Revolutionary Road, like you're watching people's lives crumble and you're like, ugh. Where this one, while you're watching, it's like, huh, and it's only after I finish the movie has how torturous and awful they've made their
Things
own
are pretty
lives.
hopeless, I guess, huh?
Which is
think
hard
it
to
ca-
say
it
in the last
calls-
scene. But like
It calls itself a comedy, though. Like I think it kind of
Yeah.
reckons itself a comedy.
it does, and I sort of see it, maybe, but like I'm so glad that we watched this towards the end when we have adjusted to what a 75 movie is like, the pacing, you know,
Yes.
and so like we know that like it's just sort of a character study and it's not going to
Sometimes
fall.
people are just going to be driving for a little bit.
Yeah, and
just
like-
deal with it. A new scene is coming soon.
And sometimes they're going to be on a motorcycle.
How else will they get from one scene to the
Yeah,
other?
two people are going to be confused.
They'll be on a motorcycle and not even wear a fucking helmet. Did you see that?
when
Well-
your hair's feathered like that, you can't put
Okay.
a helmet or a hat on that.
And you're wearing a pillow. If you hit the concrete, it's just going to be soft. And
So-
Also, if you're going to motorcycle, make sure you've got that neckerchief tied really long. You're going to want that flapping in the
What
breeze.
else will blow behind you in the breeze? So the reason that I always wear a helmet on my motorcycle is because my hair is not that good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course.
Speed round.
The little robot saying speed round means it's time for speed round. What does this film say about the fear of death?
Well, you know,
I mean, we just talked about it with the
Freud-
helmetless motorcycling. Like,
And
Warren
Freud
Beatty
tells
wants to
us-
die.
that we seek oblivion in two ways, right? We seek the oblivion of sexual release and the oblivion of actual death. And that's what this movie is 100% about, that like we just want out. One way or another, we want out.
You know what I would have really loved is to watch Warren Beatty come. One, obvious reasons. Two, is it enjoyable for him, or is he just like going through the motions? Like I have to.
I
That
wonder
is the point I want to give the least.
I wonder
but
if he's
it is
like a
given.
very proficient lover, but like isn't really into it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
thi-
just
I think
I'm
he's really
gifted.
good at his job,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
doesn't. He's like,
as distracted as he is doing hair.
Yeah.
yeah.
exactly.
Whereas like I suck at sex, but I am so enthusiastic about it that you got to give it up.
That kid's just trying.
Yeah.
Look at him just trying, throwing his little heart into it.
I swear to God, Greg, if you got a point because I said I want to watch Warren Beatty come, I'm gonna freak out.
No, Ryan, you got
Okay,
that
good.
point. George put his blow dryer in his jeans instead of a hip holster or a shoulder holster. Blown opportunity?
Blown? Wait, is that a?
Alone.
Oh, okay.
That's
No,
a bunch of hot air, Mike.
Ryan.
it's not.
Point.
It's not because in the shoulder, it's not your penis. He puts it right where his
Yeah.
penis is. Like that's his wiener.
Yeah, that's my big dong. And I mean, they show you that basically when he humps
Yeah.
that lady's head. Wow.
Right in my nuts, please.
Is George Roundy where Derek Zoolander came from?
Oh shit.
Dude, the squint? Oh my gosh, that's perfect. He's doing Blue Steel. Like
I'm gonna
the
say
entire
yes.
movie.
I'm gonna say yes.
Also, they both understand that, like, when there's things you don't get, sometimes the best thing you can do is
Oh,
just be
that's
like,
great.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
Huh?
Does this movie prove once and for all that shampoo is in fact better than conditioner?
Yes.
No,
Shampoo is better than
conditioner is
conditioner.
better.
It's over.
It makes
It's
you
over.
shiny and smooth.
No, it doesn't
God
matter.
damn
if
it,
your
Craig.
hair's- It's not conditioner.
You don't even understand. Conditioner
not shampooing
leaves
it.
your
It's
hair
oily.
shiny and smooth.
How much shampoo should I use per shower?
I would say half as much as what a commercial tells you.
Okay, wait, but if you're only doing it like 3 times a week, I'm going to say a third of a pump. If you're, do you have the pump
Also, bro, you have a beard, so get that shampoo
Yeah.
down here into the
And hit
into
those
the base.
pits.
Yeah,
Hit those pits with it.
No, I have special beard conditioner for my
You
are
beard.
such
a
Monsters.
that's the
You are
hipsterest
such a
thing
Oh,
I've ever heard.
I'm
No,
a dandy fop.
You're a
You should
fop.
see the giant floppy hat and white gloves I put on to take care of my
all,
beard.
all we're seeing right now is your short shorts and your pinwheel that you blow on as you skip down the street. You fop.
That is all the time we
That
have
speed
for
round?
round. We're gonna come back and give out some awards. Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/yourpopfilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp, he's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk. Wherever you get music, check him out. Taste Buds Shampoo was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay, and Best Art Direction. It won Best Supporting Actress for Lee Grant, who played Felicia.
Mike, we're talking about a movie that won an Oscar.
It's
Yeah,
so
dude.
rare
It's
for
so
us.
crazy.
Does that mean we hate it now?
I don't
think
know.
we
Do
hate
you guys
it.
think that, like, Lee, what's her name? Lee Evans?
Lee Grant?
Lee Grant. Could she win the Moody for Best Supporting Actress, do you think?
Let's see.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
All right, sorry.
But none of these awards matter. Our awards matter. Starting with Grooviest Moment. Greg?
So, I anticipated that because this movie was about sex, and it was from 75, there'd be some groovy content in it. And the word groovy is used several times, so I was pretty excited about that. For me, it's when they're at that big house party, which is like reminded me of the Playboy Mansion, but I don't
That's
think
the
it was.
Playboy Mansion.
It's
It is?
supposed to be.
Okay.
It's got to be, right?
It seems like it, yeah. Like the tennis court looks exactly like the Playboy Mansion tennis court, and they're in that area, so it would totally make sense. But like, so they're in the Playboy Mansion, let's say, and Lester's like walking across the bridge. He gets offered grass from two naked hippies in a hot tub, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll skinny dip with you." It doesn't work out that way, but in that one moment, groovy, baby.
So
simply groovy.
Groovy.
So mine is so close to that, Mike. It's the moment where two hippies are in the jacuzzi, which I think is the Playboy Mansion's version of the, what is it, the grotto?
The grotto.
Where they went and did some research, and it was just covered in jism. It was so gross. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that's years ago. You retire there to get intimate with one or more consenting adults.
But two hippies in the jacuzzi were like, "Hey, come in," and Jack Warden was like, "Should I?" And then they were like, "We don't care." Honestly, like, do whatever the fuck you want, bro. And
He's like, well, I got to get a big towel then. Hang on.
And they're just
where-
like,
For the
just
moment,
jump in,
jerk.
brother.
where are the towels? Because
Yeah.
this is a cabana, right?
Hey, you guys, you know what's kind of fun to think about in that little situation there? If you were in age closer to one of the participants, who would it be? Would it be the hippies or would it be Lester?
Oh,
For
it's
me,
Jack Warden.
Shut up.
I would have black socks for days.
That is clear, and talking yourself out of a threesome because you have to go find the towel.
yes.
That is clearly the grooviest moment. You both get points. Best do, Ryan.
Oh man, best due I have to give to Warren Beatty for his non-stop helmet. Like, there's no way that a helmet could control his hair. Like, did he just wake up? Is he about to go to sleep? His hair is always perfect. He knows that he has to represent what a good hairdo stylist he is, and he always has the best hair.
He's a walking billboard for his own product. And apparently what you do, the best thing you can do is feather it out to the extreme ends. Looking at his hair, it helped me understand so much of like what I've seen from like the 70s and 80s.
Have you guys ever
This
put
is like-
hair on a Lego person? That's what this looks like.
And yeah, so he can't put on a hat. He can't put on a helmet. It's just, and like, it's Dirk Diggler hair, basically, but like teased out an extra degree even more than that.
I want to do it. I think we should all feather our hair by next summer.
Just all of us buzzing
My-
into a
if I could-
Minneapolis hotel with
My hair
feathered
gets
froze.
huge if I poof it out
I
like
know. I love it.
Yeah,
that.
Mike, you and I will not be able to do as good as Greg is able to do.
Yeah, my hair was made for this time.
So you both say Warren Beatty.
Dude, yeah.
I want to shout out HM to the Julie Christie, the back half. Jackie's hair looks fucking sharp, and I'm in love with it.
I also love Goldie Hawn's hair when she goes to the voting thing. You know, like the party, the bistro. Her hair, like, it's a little bit pulled into a ponytail, but the most of it is laid down. And she has that very short dress on. She looks amazing.
I think you're mostly talking about her dress there. Ryan, what do you think Greg's cringe is going to be?
Is this how you want to do it?
No, Greg cringe.
For me, there are a few different cringy moments,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there is some bad F word in this movie, and I just have to admit that word causes me to literally cringe. it is employed first as, I think, a slur, and then very conversationally right after that. Yeah, and it's not a fun word.
There's a full-on, and I sort of miss this from movies too, where you could just go to the fridge and bring out 10 different courses and put them on the counter, and now we're eating, like, it's a full-on indoor picnic. Like, they've got ham, they've got vegetables, but they use the F word that Greg is referring to.
Yeah, Warren Beatty and Carrie Fisher just go back and forth, seeing who could say it more often.
Yeah.
It
And
felt
it's
like
so
an old Kevin Smith movie.
You're so happy to see Carrie Fisher. She looks so young and full of life, and you're like, oh my god, there she is. And then she says that, and you're like, oh, shoot. You ruined it.
And she uses it in real interesting ways I hadn't heard
yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan.
She uses it as an adverb, I believe. So
Yes.
that's pretty cool.
Ryan, what is your cringe?
I think that's part of the game. I think that this movie does a pretty good job of keeping gay culture in the loop, I think, for the time. I'm going to go with Bill Pope's character of just thinking that he's not a creepy person.
Oh, the
Tinted
director,
glasses.
Johnny
Yeah.
Pope?
Johnny Pope. Just thinking that, like, no, I'm not like them, but being more like them than he could ever know. And
He's
also,
like the next generation of them.
yeah, and wanting to fuck Jack Warden more than he wants to fuck Goldie Hawn. You know, like, just such a slime bag.
Mine is Goldie Hawn saying, know what I read in Cosmopolitan? If you don't have a baby by 30, you're going to have a Mongolian idiot.
Yeah,
Yep.
that
That's a
was
good
really fun.
All of that is... Ugh. All right, pound for pound performance. Ryan.
I have to. My God. This was a hard one because it is mostly an ensemble, but I have to give it to Jack Warden. I think that he does this amazing thing that I'm always impressed by of being very upset by the situation, but knowing that he's being watched. And so he'll be sad, and then he'll look at somebody and smile. You know, like, I'm going to switch my frown upside down. I think that Jack Warden watching Warren Beatty sexually march through his entire life is worth the price of admission.
So specifically at the party, and that's the most like farcical the movie is at the political party where
Yeah.
Pops is opening champagne and pouring on people because he's just watching Warren Beatty hit on all of Jack's women.
That's one of the moments where you feel like, okay, that's where they were trying to make a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, there should either
That's
be
the
way more of
Frasier
that,
episode.
or there shouldn't be any of that at all. There shouldn't just be like 3 instances.
But see,
of
I
that. That's
disagree.
so weird.
No.
The movie is so unfunny that it becomes a Hitchcock movie. And that night at the bistro, that hour at the bistro is like the moment in Rope where, oh, it's going down right now. I think it's way more of a thriller than it is a comedy.
Greg, what is your pound for pound performance?
You know, the first time I saw it, I thought it was the same guy you did, Ryan. But watching it the second time, for me, it's Goldie Hawn. Because Jill knows, like, I think on some level, Jill knows exactly what's going on. And she knows that she is trying to transform this guy into something that he's not really capable of being. And she at once wants him to be, like, the head of the household. But then also she's, like, having to create him. She's, like, his girlfriend and, like, his mother at the same time.
There's a scene that says this, which is, I need to fucking talk to you. And she says
Yeah.
it 4 times. 4 times she keeps bringing him back.
But then he'll do very small, charming things, and it kind of wins her back.
Yeah.
And when you watch Goldie Hawn, you see how Jill is doing it to herself. Like, it's not that he's so charming. It's that she is constantly deluding herself. And that really led to my understanding the movie on a different level, which is that these people are prisoners of their own actions, not of the actions of each other. They're prisoners of their own actions. And it was her acting that, like, pointed that out to me.
But if you think about Shampoo too, she's the only one that's okay. Like, Jack Warden, Julie Christie, and Warren Beatty are fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she learned enough to get out of this awful,
I think
toxic, terrible environment.
Yeah, that's why, Ryan, you said it earlier, she's the main character because she actually arcs. And mine is
Straight out of the movie.
Julie Christie is, I think, for a lot of the reasons you said, Greg, about Goldie Hawn, but Julie Christie, she's old enough to know everything she's doing. Literally every action she makes is horrible, except for what she orders for lunch with Goldie Hawn. Like, everything after that, she is hurting herself and knows it. You can see it in her eyes.
But she's got this weird thing about her where she's like, she does this thing where she's like, I'm at a farce and I'm also not.
Mm-hmm.
How does she do both of those things at the same time? Everybody else in the movie is like, farce. But she does this thing of like, no, but this is real though. She is amazing.
Yeah, I was surprised that Lee Grant won. I don't think she was bad, but she is playing such a big, broad character.
Yeah, I would have put her behind any of our answers I think are better than that.
Suck it, Lee Grant.
Yeah, boom.
And also nobody picked Warren Beatty, right?
No, I mean, man, what an odd performance. I think he got what he was going for, but it's just a weird thing to go for.
It was a little Seinfeldian in that let's watch the other people be characters.
Right. Seinfeldian in the way that he was like David Putty. Just like squinting and confused. I don't care for that term.
Final award, Greg, director's signature moment.
So, I was thinking about it, and I guess I was thinking about Harold and Maude, and there is something about the monologue that George gives about when he's talking to Goldie Hawn about like, yeah, I sleep with them. Nah, who cares? Yeah, I guess I do. They want to sleep with me. I sleep with them. This sort of like the way it lays out everything that is wrong with George and the way in which his life is so aggressively non-considered. I thought it captured the like sort of true, real, both sound of the dialogue and real way people sort of walk through their own thoughts. And it reminded me a little of Harold and Maude, which is like a kind of like a grittier comedy than most and features, real people in very unusual situations.
Good answer. Ryan?
I feel like that if we are Hal Ashby people, then we are definitely Harold and Maude people. I don't know if we...
Oh, yeah, dude.
I don't know if we've ever talked about being there or really any of Hal Ashby's other movies. And I think that we've talked about a little bit about tonight how he didn't direct this. This is Warren Beatty and Robert Towne going to town on this movie, and he was just sort of there. But Harold and Maude is a Hal Ashby movie through and through. I have to give it to the one point where I knew this is not Beatty, this is not Robert Towne, is Warren Beatty, like Human Torch, denied a bank loan, going outside and having a fucking shit fit in the camera.
Absolute fit.
And the camera did not move. And that is it, is that the rest of the movie is such classic, on you editing. Like camera A, camera B, camera A, camera B editing. And that's like television. But Warren Beatty, for, I'm going to say a solid 50 seconds, has an absolute fit and chucks that jacket into the trash can and then has to get the jacket
Only
from the trash can.
Only manages to make his own day worse.
Yeah. That's anytime you're losing your temper. That's all you're doing, guys. Come on.
And I think that was the time where Hal Ashby was like, why don't we kick back? Why don't we just watch this happen?
That, and at the end, he lets it linger on Beatty again at the top of the hill. And there's no dialogue. You can't really see his face, but he's going, oh, fuck. What am I doing now?
We get a little bit of a callback, a very little bit of a callback at the end where Julie Christie's leaving the restaurant and Warren Beatty's like, what about your jacket? And she's like, I don't care. But no, you could take that. You could trash that. You should take that jacket and throw it around.
You could at least throw it around.
Exert your energy.
Ryan.
All right, gentlemen, the final thing that can give you points before we take a break and reveal who wins. Recommendations. Ryan.
I mentioned it before, but I'm going to say Cheers season 4 and 5. Season 4 is the end of... That's when... What's her name?
Rebecca?
Nope.
Kirstie Alley?
Nope. That's Rebecca. Season 5 is when Kirstie Alley playing Rebecca comes in.
Comes on, yeah.
Season 4 is when Shelley Long leaves.
Is that who it is?
And that is a transition for the show where Sam Malone goes from like a guy that we think is cool and we admire goes to being a pathetic piece of shit. And I can't believe a sitcom did this. I really do think it's one of the best sitcoms, one of the best TV shows of all time. And because
it makes that transition between a woman who's kind of obsessed with him, even though he's bad for her, to a woman who doesn't give a shit.
Doesn't give a shit,
and tells him how stupid he is constantly.
And then that has this ripple effect of like, wait, she doesn't care about me. Do any girls care about me? And then he has to deal with that. It really is great.
It's kind of like when Idris Elba comes on to The Office and he doesn't like
Jim,
yeah. Just totally like the character no longer knows how to function.
You know how I comedically wore this tuxedo. But no, I think that Cheers is a great follow-up to Shampoo.
Greg.
Yeah, for me, we mentioned it earlier, but I just couldn't stop thinking about Uncut Gems because even though there's not the violent outburst in this, just I kept saying to myself, how do these people have the energy to do this? How do they have the energy to go from one assignation to the next? How do they keep it all straight, and why do they do it? And that's just the way that Howard is constantly trying to stay one step ahead of contemplation of the abyss, contemplation of the meaninglessness of life, of how terrible everything is. And so I guess they have the energy they have to do it is because they're avoiding something that's chasing them. But that sort of tension and that sort of nihilism that I felt in Uncut Gems, that sort of disordered behavior, I felt all through this movie.
And what's amazing about this movie is that wasn't the point.
Right.
Yeah.
That was just a secondary outcome of how the movie works.
Man,
Ryan.
I love both your brains. You both argued so well for your recommendations, and they're not I don't know, Heaven Can Wait's another Warren Beatty movie. You guys rule. Mine is Tangerine.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
Where, gotta rep my boy Sean Baker. Another frantic LA. People are making choices they know are wrong to the point that it's making their bad days worse.
And it's funny because it's lower on the socioeconomic ladder, but it's the same sort of things. Going to house parties, people who are basically sex workers or just literally sex workers. It is a good comparison.
And both movies are it's as if Loki said, all right, before your sun comes down again. Both movies are.
Yes.
Not in real time, but 24
Close.
hours,
Tangerine feels they both
I love
feel
that
like
shit.
in real time.
If your movie takes place in a day period, I'm gonna love you.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen to me, filmmakers. Just do that.
Just do that.
All right, we're gonna take the quickest of breaks, and when we come back, who won? You decide. That's not true. The two of you decided throughout the show.
Well, that is very, very funny, or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about, or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies.
We've come to the end. Gentlemen, before we say how we think Shampoo could do in the final fight, I have to reveal who won.
Whom? Who or
Greg,
whom?
you got 40 points this show.
I hate when he does me first.
Ryan, you got 40 points this show.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
It's a tie.
Oh, wow.
So, either you share your best friendship, or right now, we have to figure out how to break this tie.
I say we share.
I'm okay with the share.
Yeah, we will share it. Like those two guys that won the gold medal for the high jump. The judge was like,
Okay.
you guys you can both win. And they were like, sure.
I think that Mike at yourpopfilter.com is going to get a lot of emails about how he left this a tie. That's insane.
I think what makes me a good host is I'm not tracking the points as they come in.
I know.
I tabulate and I go, holy shit. You guys made equal points jokes.
And I think that we
Arguments?
should just recognize that by splitting the
All
title.
right.
It has happened, I think, one other time that there's been a tie in the whole show. So I think
Honestly, I think you guys were a lot nicer last time I tied you guys.
I mean,
Or no, wait, the opposite. Meaner.
Yeah, how much
right now
nicer
you're being
could we
very
be
kind.
about
No. You were monsters last time. Yeah, I was gonna say what's Mike's favorite Warren Beatty movie, but that's fine. You guys tied. Don't
Dick
worry
Tracy.
About it is it's McCabe and Mrs. Miller, actually. Fun fact.
oh, what a cool nerd.
That is a fun fact.
Okay.
Okay.
When I was the
Ryan's
host
making me
and
wanna
there was
give
a
extra points
tie,
to Greg.
then I would make you guys do something, and I would settle the tie, and I would declare a winner. But apparently,
I was gonna. Greg wins. Greg's the winner.
I thought
Ryan just fucked himself into not winning.
a lot of times
Not
what
even
I
sharing
do
a
is I
win.
just try to remain totally quiet to see if things break my way. And
I
honestly,
couldn't believe, and only Patreon listeners know this, but I couldn't believe when Greg in the Patreon episode was like, Mike, if you don't pick me, then you're a dumbass. Man, I got so many points from that.
Yeah.
That's how I tied, basically.
It's real. You have a pop-off sibling. You're both in trouble, but if you stay quiet a little longer than them, they will dig their own hole.
And our host is such an insecure piece of shit that
and a gentleman.
and really like a rude, angry, like this is how we have to deal with it. It's just like
Also handsome.
He's like Alex Trebek died, and he is the Michael Richards of Jeopardy.
I like that you guys can't hear it, but the listeners know how many points Greg's getting.
He already won, bitch.
But now he won. It's like 50-40.
Sure.
You fucking loser.
I'm running away with it in OT.
All right, that is the show. How is Shampoo gonna do?
I really like Shampoo, but here's the thing. This is my third time watching it, and I read a ton of essays about it before I watched it for the third time.
Mm-hmm.
This is what 75 is like, you're not ready for this jelly. You know, like, you have to be ready for the movie that we present you, as opposed to other years, which is like, yeah, just another 2004 movie, you know?
I have to say, for me, this season really has been about rewatching the movies. And if you're listening at home and sometimes you watch these movies and you don't like them, but then we go off on them, consider just rewatching them another time.
Mm-hmm.
Shampoo, for me, really opened up the second time I watched it, and I'm so glad I did watch it that second time. I don't think it has what it takes to make much noise in the bracket, but that's not an indictment of the movie. It definitely had a goal, and it has different goals.
But this is also the year with Dog Day and Jaws.
Yeah. And so it kind of ran into stiff competition doing similar things to what it's doing and everything. But, like, this movie was worth making. It was worth seeing. It was worth talking about.
Oh, yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah. And it had its own angles on everything. And so just consider...
I don't think it's a first-round loser. I think it could, depending on who it goes up against, I think it can go on.
Yeah. I just don't... I guess I wouldn't give it much of a chance of taking everything down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mike,
I don't think it's going to get dunked on.
So you're going to Venmo us $100 for the victory of this movie. What is it called?
Wait,
Shampoo. $100 for Shampoo.
That's what you're doing?
No, you said that you're going to vote for it.
No, that's not what I said. Way to listen. Next week, the last movie in the real bracket is 3 Days of Condor. Until then,